Hello everyone, and welcome to the Adorable Anarchist World Part 3 on the Sensory Deprivation Chamber, A Journey of the Self. Now then, man, I really put off doing this Part 3 for about 3 or 4 days. I did the float about 3 or 4 days ago, so I'll try and remember it the best I could, but honestly, next time around I'm going to try and do this directly after the float. That way I can have the true, flotation glow feeling afterwards, is what they call it. So, alright, well, I guess I'll start from the beginning this time around. I got there early, and me and the guy behind the counter just kind of talked about Alan Watts' time, energy, and the universe for about half an hour, which is some really interesting conversation. I might actually have them on in the future, so that'd be really, really cool. But when I finally got in, I was in a different room this time, different tank. And this one looked totally different from the other one. I couldn't even get a good picture of it because the room was smaller than the other one. And of course, this time around, I did the exact same thing I did last time. Spent no time hesitating, stripped down as fast as possible, jumped in that shower, jumped out, and got in that tank as fast as possible. And about 20 minutes in, I had that same loss of awareness in all my body, and I sort of lost it in my head this time. And I say sort of because man, well, to start off, when I first got in the tank, unlike the last time, I hit the walls quite a few times. Even when I was losing sense of awareness, there were a lot of times where I hit the walls. And last time I talked about having a little twitch in the arm or in the leg or something, which would jolt me back to reality. And I think I've come to the conclusion that that's probably just energy leaving my body, and that my body's trying to get rid of that excess energy. That way I can relax there in the tank. The guy on the lobby agreed with me afterwards of that, and he even said, yeah, your first few times doing this, you're going to have that problem, and the other one that I had, which was the salt makes your skin itch, which is kind of a bitch. All right, so to move on, when I really started to lose sense of awareness in the head, one thing that I did see was a few colors, actually. And you remember last time, if you saw my previous video, the white ring was the one, the one that stood out when I lost sense of awareness for those few seconds. In this one, it was mostly orange and blue. And they were very dim, but they were still there. And one thing I did learn from this was if you really want to lose this sense of awareness and you really want to see what these things are and learn from them, which I know that sounds weird, but just hear me out. You really have to take what's coming to you as is. Don't try and add meaning to it to yourself. Because if you try and think, oh, this has to do with this, then you'll pop yourself out of that back into a sense of awareness, and then you're back to square one. You have to let go of everything all again. The whole point of this tank is that you're being confronted with things that you normally wouldn't confront yourself with. So that's why you should take these things as they are and learn from them as they're coming to you, instead of trying to add your own meaning of what you want to hear to them. That was personally something I got out of that. And all I can say other than that is I did come to a few self-actualizations about some things in my personal life, but that's something for the individual floater to come to when they do this. And man, the things that I did learn really were, it was really a mind-blowing experience, I guess you could say. The second time around, I still have much more, I left with a lot more questions than answers about the float, but at the same time, just that feeling of, which by the way, that's the one thing that I do want to say is the best part of the float, in my opinion, is getting out. When you're getting out of that tank, there is no greater sense of freedom that you will ever get. That sense of freedom I got when getting out of the tank was just like I'm not even gonna lie, that might actually be the best part of the experience for me, because it feels so much like rebirth. And I don't know if that'll carry on into later sessions, but for these early ones, it definitely has. And I really don't know what else to say other than this is definitely something that if you're in the liberty or freedom, you have to go check this out. You will have no greater journey of the self. I've done a lot with experimentation with meditation and yoga in the past, but I'll tell you, this tank has been by far the greatest tool that I've ever done. So much so that I couldn't stop thinking about the freedom of the mind after it was all finished. That now I'm gonna go get the Amagi tattooed on my wrist. And why is my computer going off? That is not good. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. And I plan on doing the tank again, and hopefully after that one, I will be able to film it directly afterwards, so we won't have this little delay anymore. But yeah, I highly encourage people out there to go check this out. And recently, I just saw Derek Rose, apparently on his show, talked about isolation tanks helping with PTSD, which I wouldn't be surprised about that. One thing that I've always had a problem with in the past is my neck. I've had trouble turning my neck because of all the crap that I've carried on my back in the past. My neck's had trauma, but since doing the tank, it's been a lot easier on my neck. Like, I haven't had any pains or anything. It's been wonderful. And the only thing I could finally say about the tank is near the end of the whole float experience, you do start to grow kind of restless. You do kind of start to drift back in. You're like, okay, is this done yet? You just kind of get tired. Because in a way you're exhausting your body as much as you are relaxing it, or at least you are for your first few times. Or at least that was my case. But yeah, that's all I can say. Until part 4, I hope that this has been somewhat helpful, and I hope that I can look back on these videos and see just how much I've learned from this experience every time. And yeah, that's all I can say. I hope that many of you out there will try and find enlightenment similar ways, but if anything, I highly recommend this as an experience. It's definitely something you have to try out at least once. Alright, well, without further ado, I believe this is the end of the video, so I'm Mitchell Wiechek, the Adorable Anarchist World, here on the Voluntary Virtues Network, trying to remain optimistic in the age of imperialism.